Hello everybody! Allow me to welcome you to part 4 of my review of the IniBuilds A340-300. Today we will finally take this bird to the skies, so the plan is to make a takeoff on runway 25 center at the Frankfurt Airport, then fly a departure route to flight level 100, then some radar vectors. During cruise flight I will show you a few things I recently noticed, and then we will fly an eyeless approach to runway 25 center, followed by an automatic landing. So that's the plan for today. So far I prepared everything already, so let's jump right into the flight deck. Let me just show you what I planned. So we are having a little bit more fuel than in part 3. Basically the preparation has been the same as it was in part 3, just that I added some more fuel, so our takeoff weight will be 240 tons roughly. You can see on the fuel page how the fuel is being distributed. So we have the main load in the inner tanks, 3 tons in the respective outer tanks, and we even have fuel in the center tank and in the tail tank. So that's a pretty heavy bird today. As for the routing, I inserted the 𝐵𝐷 3 Gulf departure, which you can see here. That takes us to the waypoint 234, 133, 131 and so on, 238. I can show you that on the plan mode. So that's basically this one here. This is what we're going to fly. First altitude is 5,000 feet, and as soon as we're in the air I will get a clearance to climb to flight level 100. This is our takeoff performance. I already calculated everything with a takeoff weight of 240 tons, flaps 2 today, air condition off, which reminds me that I have to switch the packs off. That saves a bit engine life, fuel and noise, of course. And these are the numbers I already inserted on the performance page. V1, VR, V2, flaps to the trim setting, and the flex temperature is 50. Alright, then I prepared the charts also. So here you can see the airport layout. 25 center is this one. We are standing here, holding here, and we'll take off in this direction. This is going to be our departure chart. So here you can see the airplane symbol, and we will fly this track, make a turn above 800 feet, intercept this course to Delta Fox 131, then we make another right turn overhead Wiesbaden and follow this routing here to 𝐵𝐷. And somewhere around here I'll just switch to vectors to get us around for another for an approach, which will be, just a second, which will be this one. Isla Zulu 25 center. So basically we will be approaching from the north and intercept the final course around here until passing Delta Fox 520. Out of 4,000 feet we will going to fly the 3-degree glide slope for the landing. Okay, so let me just grab the departure chart real quick again, and then we'll check the system. So here you can see V1, V2 is shown. First altitude, climb and nav are the modes that are armed. This is our flight plan. Oh, and this little cyan line here is coming from the fix info page. So when you go to flight plan, line select key 1 left, and then you have fix info. You can insert a fix. Must be in the database, of course. So the threshold of runway 25 center is in the database. I can put in a radial here, 246. So that's the runway center line. Why do I do that? Well, in real life, when you take off, you want to be prepared for a potential engine failure or something like that. And engine failures have procedures you have to fly and adhere to in order to make sure that you have obstacle clearance during the path, as you lose power and performance, of course. So you're trying to maintain runway heading, and this visualization here helps you to track the runway heading. Good, so we go back to the performance page. I already set the flaps and everything. You can push the takeoff config button. Checklist is green. And we're ready to go. Awesome. Before we take off, I'd like to take the time to answer 2 questions I got through the comments. One was one thing you can switch in the EFB. It's under settings and then configuration settings. And there are 2 things. Brake fans, for instance. So normally the A340, at least as I know it, doesn't have any brake fans. And when you look at the tires, you can see the rims here. So that's what they look like. And when you activate the brake fan function, you get a neat button here, brake fan. You can switch it on. It's also on under the memo messages. And when you look here, oh, sorry, there you can see this hasn't been there before. This is the brake fan, or these are the brake fans. And you can see as the center gear has no brakes, there is no brake fan apparently. So these are the brake fans. But this is more for short range aircraft. So the fleet I know of didn't have any brake fans, because most of the time the turnaround times are long enough, or you even have brake cooling equipment, so you don't need the brake fans. It's just more things that can brake, so it's better to not have. The second thing I'd like to explain is this one here. Oh, as I just see, the standby options. Standby gauges, this is the normal setup for the A340-300. It's the old layout. And the newer A330s, as well as the A340-600, has the so-called ICEs. This is this one. So you have a combined instrument for speed, altitude, and the artificial horizon. And you even have a landing system integrated. Oh, it's working. See? Here you have a localizer and a glide slope. So that's quite nice. If all your instruments fail, you can rely on this one here. But the good old A340-300 just had these here. And the last thing is the PVI. That's the so-called Paravisual Indicator. I never seen that on A330s or A340s, to be honest. That's an old system I'm familiar with from the old A320s I used to fly as a first officer. And this is this thing here. Looks strange, doesn't it? So we can switch it on. Oh, it was on, sorry. We switch it on. You see these squares here. You can test it. So this is the square that's going to help you. And I'll explain in a second what this is for. And we have the auto land light. If I switch this back, you can see this light here. This is the auto land light we have in the 340-300. This is important when you do low visibility approaches with automatic landing. So this is very important. But on the old Airbuses, they had this PVI, but the PVI was not specifically for low visibility landings, but for takeoffs, because it provided a guidance along the center line. You had to have a localizer signal active, as we do now, the India Fox Charlie Whiskey, so that's the ILS-25 center. Here you can see the localizer, and when the system is on, and as soon as we are rolling for takeoff, the system will guide you on the center line. So we have this little square here that shows the localizer. If I move to the right, the square moves to the left, so I have to recapture the square. But I will show you during takeoff. I just leave this on and I can show you during takeoff. Okay, what else? What did I want to show you? Oh yeah, it's just some gimmick. Okay, you can see the rudder pedals. I'm using rudder pedals as well, so when I push on the brakes, it's really moving. Here you can see that. That's cool. And I even have a flight stick today, so when I move the stick, it's moving. Here you can see that. And I was telling you about the flight control page, so here we can see all the spoilers, the left ailerons, we have two, and the right ailerons, and the left elevator and the right elevator and the rudder. So when I use the rudder, you can see the deflection of the rudder. When I use the ailerons, so I steer to the left. It's always a combination of spoilers. These are the flight spoilers. And you see here is another spoiler that's not being deflected. That's a ground spoiler. And the ailerons. So when I go to the outside view, you can see that the spoilers and ailerons are being deflected. And here the other way round. So this would be a left turn with the right ailerons pointing down and the left ailerons and the spoilers pointing up. And if I do it on the other side, it's vice versa. And as we are seeing this, I must say that this is so neatly programmed, so detailed. I really like this stuff. Very nice. Okay, now the elevator. See the elevator here. And the rudder. Very nice. Same here. Elevator. And elevator. It's even, you have a little time delay from neutral position to the fully extended position. And that's the same in the real aircraft. It just takes a while. It's a big aircraft, so it takes a while. Very nice. All right, that was this thing. Then, of course, that's not so important, but we also have the footrests. And we also have a table. Yes, nice table. So very nicely programmed. All right, one more thing I'd like to mention. You see this little cross here? That's the indicator of the side stick deflection. So when I move the side stick, you can see now I pull, I push it down, and you can see how this moves. This is only displayed on ground and helps us to influence the pitch control during takeoff run. So as soon as I set takeoff power, I put the crosshair around here just to have a little bit of pressure on the nose wheel as soon as the elevators will be effective. And approaching 80 knots, reaching 100 knots, I will release the back pressure to a neutral, and then later on it helps me to find the right input for rotation, which is around here, 7.5 degrees for the A340-300, almost 10 degrees for the A340-600. So that's my aim point, sort of. I rotate here. All right, so I think we've done everything. Oh no, I need to have 5,000 feet here, and let's give it a go. Just after liftoff, so you know, I will switch on the autopilot just to have some more space to explain a few things. So I'll take the first turn, and then I switch on the autopilot, and then I have time to explain a few things. All right, you ready? Let's go. Parking brake off, and we set the takeoff thrust. Flex MCT. Now you can see on the FMA man flex 50 is what I inserted. SRS runway auto thrust blue. Auto thrust blue means this is auto thrust is armed. This is a vertical mode, and this is the runway mode, which tracks the runway. So I forgot to put this down, and now you can see if I move away from the center line, the square will be deflected. There you can see. And when I turn back, it should be centered again. So 100 knots. Here we are almost on center line again. That's a bit rough. Good. Now we have V1. We cannot abort the takeoff anymore, and rotate. Oh, that was too much. Oh, that was bad. That was pretty bad. You tried to aim for 12.5 degrees pitch. That was a bit too much. Now the flight director also recognized the takeoff. Gear up. And now first turn. This is looking good. It feels quite realistic. It's pretty nice. It's just my flight stick is quite sensitive, so I need to adjust the settings a bit. Okay, but now we're switching to autopilot. You can see it here, autopilot 1, and now we're going through 1,000 feet AGL. So the climb mode is active, and the system wants you to retard the thrust levers to climb, which I just did. So it's in the climb notch now. Auto thrust is in thrust climb, and auto thrust is active. This is white. So we go through F speed. Now I have to retract the flaps one step. So you can see here it goes to 1 plus F, and if we are approaching S speed, the flaps will be automatically retracted as well. Yeah, looking good. Nice. We don't need this anymore. So now we're through S speed, so we can retract the slats as well. And see, 0 is also here. You can see I selected flaps 0, which is cyan because it's not the configuration, and now they're up. And here you can see below 10,000 feet we normally want to fly 250 knots. As we are so heavy today, our minimum clean speed is almost 260 knots, so that should be negotiated with ATC. So yeah, PAX in a sec. We will fly 260 knots. They don't have any objections. And I pull on the speed. So now we're approaching 5,000 feet, and I will reduce the climb rate a bit. Pull, and we see speed, vertical speed. This is the vertical mode, vertical speed 1000 I inserted there. Excuse me. And the auto thrust is in speed mode. So now the auto thrust tries to maintain this speed regardless of the vertical mode I selected. So we're still on departure. This is nice. And here you can also see the speed constraint, 250 knots, which is the same as the 250 knots below 10,000 feet. Now we switch on the packs. And we disarm the spoilers. Now you can see the altitude acquire mode, Alt-Star. So now we're in 5,000 feet. Altitude mode is active, speed mode is active, and navigation, we are tracking our lateral flight plan. Okay, let's climb to 10,000 feet, shall we? So I put in 10,000 feet here. And just a specialty regarding Airbus autopilot usage, you see these knobs, and these all have two functions. You can either pull it, which is this arrow downwards, or you can press it. Pressing always means managed mode, like the heading here. So when I fly on this heading and I pull, which means selected mode, you can see 025 is our present heading. Here, heading. And if I push it again, which is this here, the dot is there and nav mode is engaged. So that's the flight management system taking over the lateral navigation. So now I put in 10,000 feet and I want to fly there in a selected vertical mode. So I just pull here. And if I pull this without using the vertical speed mode, it always goes to climb thrust and open climb. That means it puts all the power it has until 92.3%, which is here, and maintains the speed. So 5,000 feet is the transition altitude. So we pull on this one, standard. And let's see what the system would like to fly speed-wise. So this is the climb page. Active mode is selected. Yes, this is cyan. Selected is 260 knots. Managed would mean 250 knots, which is a bit slow. And as soon as we are in cruising altitude, which is 10,000 feet as I inserted, then it would fly Mach 0.55. We can pre-select something here. Let's just put in there, no, let's put in 300 knots. Now that's pre-selected, you can see it here. And I'll go to managed mode, so the dot again. You see it reverted to 250 knots because we're still below 10,000 feet, but it will not fly below minimum clean speed. So even if the speed bug is here, it will maintain this speed. Let's climb to level 120. So flight level 120 is inserted here. You always cross-check that, and as I inserted that as my cruise altitude, you can see it here. I inserted level 100 before. Now it's flight level 120 because it's higher. The system took it over. And on the progress page, you can see it here as well. So 2,000 feet to go, and now you can see we are above 10,000 feet. Speed select is 300, and managed speed would have been 310. And that's the climb speed, 310 knots above 10,000 feet, and we inserted 300 knots for cruising, so that's why it's inconsistent here. Yeah. So as soon as we will be in the cruise phase, so this reverts to altitude cruise, then the speed will go back to 300 knots. But that's, yeah, that goes too much into detail. Sorry, I'm getting carried away again. So let's just insert a vertical speed of 1000. We pull selected speed, vertical speed, and let's fly a heading of, let's make it 120. I just show you here. Yeah, and 120 I said. So heading, and it turns to heading 120 now. Let me switch this off. Now you see alt cruise star. It's acquiring the alt cruise mode, and now you can see it reverted back to 300 knots because I pre-selected 300 knots. And if I would just go back to managed mode, it goes to 310 because it's inserted in the FMS. Here you can see we're in the cruise phase. Managed mode is 0.57, which is 310 knots. Yeah, decelerate sagt er schon. Sorry, I'm reverting to German. Decelerate he already saying, because we're inbound metro and the approach is not so far away. Yeah, this is not. But we're too heavy for landing. And now I'd like to show you something I discovered a few hours ago, which is very, very cool. But I need to decelerate a bit because otherwise it would be too fast. So we go to 260 knots, selected speed, which is below the band. But as we saw before, 260 knots is above green dot speed, so this is fine. And I will prepare the ILS, and I do it in a way that I said direct to. This is the final approach at the final descent point. I'll take this up there and put an outbound radial in it. It's called radial in because I want to intercept that outbound radial inbound. It's a bit complicated, but it's nice to have, so that you get the picture. It is shown here. This is the waypoint and this is the radial I just constructed. And yes, I want that, so I push here. And then the nav mode is armed because the system wants to intercept it. See? I don't want that, so I pull on the heading again. So now we are at 260 knots, flight level 120. We could... No, we don't do that. We could switch off the fasten seatbelt signs, but that doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense. So the thing I wanted to show you. Here is the fuel system. You can see we had more than 2 tons in the tail tank. It's all been transferred to the center tank and will be distributed from there. Now, if we want to land, maximum landing weight is 190 knots. So I need to get rid of 47 tons. And the A340-300 has, of course, a fuel jettison system, which is located up here. So you have a jettison arm switch and a jettison active. This is, we would do this according procedure, of course. There's a procedure for it, but I'll switch it just on. So jettison arm does nothing so far. In normal life, it would be that you get a prompt here which wants you to insert jettison gross weight. That means the system will automatically jettison fuel until reaching this gross weight that you have entered, like maximum landing weight. But it doesn't do it here. But as soon as I push on jettison active, you can see on the fuel page that the jettison nozzles open and that the fuel is being dumped. And to make sure that it's working, we have a look outside. Isn't that cool? Look at this. We see the jettison nozzles and the fuel is being jettisoned overboard. That's a pretty cool feature graphic-wise. It's pretty neat. See, this is the nozzle. There comes the fuel. This is very cool. And again, I'm very overwhelmed by the details of the aircraft. It's so nice. Look here, even the wing lights are being shown. Everything looks pretty perfect. It's really, really good. Yeah, that's a cool feature. I like that. Okay, so it would take quite some time to jettison that much fuel, so I would suggest we just take a shortcut using our special function here, and we will just reduce the fuel manually. So 30 tons left, that's enough. Instant load fuel, that should do it. Let's see, yeah, 30 tons here. And we will switch the jettison system off again. Very nice feature, I like that. That's pretty cool. Almost like the real thing. Okay, let's see what the navigation does for us. So we pass the localizer, and Delta Fox 520, where we want to be in 4,000 feet, is 24 miles away. Or just let's just turn in that direction and start the descent. So we go down to 4,000 feet. Select it, so thrust idle open descent. So in a descent, when I use the selected mode, the system will provide idle power, and open descent means you have a selected speed, and with idle power the system tries to maintain the speed. So if I want to increase descent rate, I just increase the speed. You can see it, the flight director wants to nose dive down. And if I want to flatten the descent, I just reduce the speed. Okay, where are we now? Yeah, here we are. You can see 520. So this could work out. But we use some speed brakes to make it a bit more relaxing. But the vector is not too bad so far. Let's make it 70, 75. That's fine. Okay, I already inserted the ILS. Speed limit exceeded, yeah. Which is here. Yeah, we are below 10,000 feet. I reduced it to 50. Oh, and you can see the green dot speed is well below 250 now. That's because we've lost almost 50 tons of fuel. So that's reflected here. Okay, this looks good. We can close that one. And we go to the performance page because we have to enter weather data. QNH is 1013. Temperature was 14 degrees. We just have calm winds. And we have a look at our chart. The minimum for the ILS Center 25, for the ILS Zulu 25 Center is not shown here. Oh, there it is, yeah. It's 570, and you can put that in here. Barrow. Then we need to activate the approach phase, press twice, and then the system knows to decelerate by its own if you go into managed mode. Okay, so this is looking good. Oh wait, I have to reduce speed because there's one more thing I'd like to show you. If you have seen part 3, or was it in part 2? I think it was in part 2. I was telling you about the ram air turbine, which is located underneath the right wing in a flap fairing, and by coincidence I noticed something. So let me just see here. So we're on intercept, so cleared approach. I can arm the approach mode. Then you can see glide slow blue, which is armed, localizer blue, that is armed, Cat 3 single, and we want to have Cat 3 dual as we want to do in autoland. So I push on the second autopilot, which you can see here. So Cat 3 dual, you can do an autoland with that. Vector is a bit tight, so that should work out. We are still 22 miles out. Yeah, should work out nicely. And we push on the altimeter setting. 4,000 feet. 1013. ILS identified. Localizers to the right. We're still missing the glide path, but that should the glide slope, but that should come soon. Yeah, the thing I wanted to show you. Let's just put the flaps to 1 and go to speed managed. This means that the system now will automatically reduce speed to 182 knots, which is the S speed. Yeah, localizer star, this is localizer capture, there is the glide slope, this looks fine. Okay, the thing I wanted to show you, the ram air turbine. This is located on the hydraulic panel, is this one here, no, this one here, and if we activate it, you can see it on the hydraulic page. So now the ram air turbine is active, propelling at 5,600 RPM. But the most coolest thing I recently noticed is this. Look at this. It's actually there. It's actually turning. This is so cool. And it even does the sound. I really like that. So now you see the ram air turbine in action. Nobody gets to see this ever. This is pretty cool. I mean, look at the detail of this aircraft. It's so cool. By the way, I am in no way connected to IniBuilds, but this is just great. Okay, I need to concentrate on flying. Let's see, where are we? Altitude, this is fine. S speed, that's why the pitch is so high, see? We just have slats extended, and that's why the pitch is so high to maintain altitude. You can see it here. These are the slats. They're all extended, and we have no flaps so far. If I now extend the flaps as well, so config 2 means more slats. Speed brake out? No. So more, yeah, this is because I activated the RAD. That's the procedure for it, but we omit that. So now we have glide slope star, flaps are extended at position 2, slats are at position 2, but you don't have to worry about that. Just put the lever into position 2 and then all happens automatically. Now you can see flaps are extended, slats are extended, and next would be extending the gear, but we wait for that. Alright, so now we're on the ILS. put in the go-round altitude, which is 5,000 feet. Speed brake still out? No, it's not. Oh, it was, maybe. Okay, we close that. Yeah. Okay, now we have the airport somewhere around here. We are on the ILS at F speed. And as I said, next is going to be gear down. One thing I noticed and already tested is this cyan line here. That's the missed approach procedure. 2,500. Time to put the gear down and arm the spoilers. And when I would set toga thrust now, would mean that we would do a go around and the system would revert to toga mode laterally and vertically. Now let's do flaps 3, and you can see speed reduction goes by itself. Flaps are 3 and flaps full. Flaps full, all green is the checklist. Yeah, so if I would just do that, we fly a missed approach, it would really track this. And program-wise, it's just unbelievable. It's just so cool that all the autopilot modes seem to work out nicely. Good job done, really. Okay, this is looking good. Let's have another look at our beauty here. So, gear is down, flaps and slats extended, spoilers armed, clear to land. All the lights are on. This is great. I like that. So, as soon as we have touched down, I will reduce the thrust. 1000 is checked. And open the thrust reversers, and you can see it here. You will see it there. Let's see if this baby can handle an auto land. So now we go through 500 feet AGL in a sec. There you can see the poppy. To white, to red, that's what you want to see. So now the land mode should be active in a second. Land, perfect. You need to check that while doing a low visibility auto land. Next would be flare and rollout mode armed. And that we are seeing 3 white is normal as well. It tends to land a bit long, but we're still on the glide slope, so yeah.
70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Power is idle. Ooh, and it floats. And reverse. Rollout mode is active. It's full reverse, yeah. Oh, I forgot the auto brake. Anyway, I can brake with my feet. That's fine. So reverse a stow. You can also see the movement. So if I amber means it's in movement. Oh, let's have a look outside. Just a second. Let's have a look outside. There you can see the reversers. Nice. Very nice. And we stow them again. very cool. Yeah, we could turn off here, but we just stay on the runway. Set the parking brake. And we can put up the flaps to show you the movement again. There you can see how they're being retracted. The slats as well. Yeah, very nice. So much detail. It's really, really good. The only thing I can't reset is the red. That has to be done by mechanics. Nice. Very nice. So, people, that's about it. What did we do? We took off from runway 25 center, flew the towback 3 Gulf departure, flight level 120, turned right to a heading. I showed you the fuel jettison. We took a look at the ram air turbine. We set us up for an approach to runway 25 center and did an auto land. And I have to say, this was like in the real aircraft. This was very, very nice. There are a few things that are not quite the same as I'm used to, especially in the FMS, but these are just minor things. That's not I shouldn't even mention that. But apart from that, I think this one is a really, really cool aircraft, a really good add-on. Earlier today, I also tried to fly an RNAV approach, a GPS-based approach, which the aircraft, or which this add-on did fantastically. So you could even try other approaches apart from ILS approaches. If you know how to program, then they're working. Really, really good. Okay, I would say this is it for today. Thank you for bearing with me. It was a bit longer than I wanted to, but I'd like to keep you in the loop and explain everything. And there might be some questions, I know that, because sometimes it was a bit fast. Because I'm so used to it, I'm losing track from time to time on what to tell you and what not. So my apologies for that. But anyway, if there are any questions, just write them in the comments and I'll gladly refer to them either in the next video or just by answering your comment. And as I'm saying, the next video, I'm thinking about making a part 5, although I covered most of the things right now I wanted to address. But maybe we should just do a quick flight, do an RNAV approach and see how this is working out, because I also use the selected modes we have for these type of approaches, like flight path, angle and track and all that. We could use that as well. Yeah, we will see. Maybe I will do it next week and then see how this is going to work out. Maybe you have some ideas, anything you want to see, anything you want to show me, any approaches or maneuvers you would like to see. I would gladly do them and see if I can show you everything you want to see. All right. So with this being said, let's look at as I just saw the sun. Look at this. This is crazy. They even simulated the sunshades. This is so cool. I like that. I like these little things. It's just too cool. Anyway, sunshine. Nice aircraft. Thank you for watching. If you like this, please leave a thumbs up. leave a comment and tell me if you want to see something else. Have a good one. I see you in the next one. Bye now.